Greetings and welcome to all who are listening to this transmission. This is a very important and very intense phase in the planetary evolution, so it is important to share some of the divine given information. Namely, what is happening at this point of time is the rising of the planetary Kundalini. Kundalini, as an ancient Sanskrit word, means the coiled energy or the spiral. And to truly understand the magnificence and significance of this event, we just need to explain briefly what is the meaning of coiled versus uncoiled Kundalini. At the time when the human race was plunging deep into the consciousness of the darkness and polarity, reality, and 3D, it was important to create such a configuration on our planet which was enabling that kind of reality to exist. Which means the heart energy which conveys the love of the universe, the infinity of the universe, needed to be disabled, like a closed down, and the unified chakra system, which was one unified configuration, was spread out into the linear chakra system and was divided into 3 lower chakras and 3 upper chakras. Lower ones that were being connected with the earth energies and the upper ones connected with the divine or spiritual energies. So in the human consciousness, it was somehow that heaven and earth were separated. They were not unified. And the female energy which existed within this unification needed to be disabled in a way that it was coiled down as a dormant spiral, as a vortex which was non-active. It was rendered inactive. So this configuration allowed the 3D reality. Otherwise, if you have an open heart and if you have a unified oneness consciousness, you're never able to hate somebody or to harm somebody or to have the reality of clashing polarities. However, now after that game of 3D reality is done and gone and we are growing into the next level of our cosmic evolution, this process is happening in a reversed way on the higher level of the spiral. So that means the dormant or the sleeping Kundalini is being awakened. And on the planetary level, if you can see here the beautiful Mother Earth, at the proximity of the Tibet, which is the area that we all recognize as a highly spiritual area, the sitting of the Himalaya mountains, there is a very mystical mountain called Mountain Meru. And Tibetans refer to it as a crystal mountain, and it is told to be shaped as a figure 8. So the upper aspect of the mountain is above the earth and the lower aspect below the earth. And the planetary Kundalini is sitting below the mountain Meru. So the vortex, which is inactive or was inactive, activating now, is sitting under mountain Meru. So the process of this activation has started its acceleration phase in the recent months and will certainly continue for a while. And the configuration which is in a planetary sense held at Meru, as above, so below, is the same configuration of the human being. So the Kundalini or the feminine energy of the universe in the human being is sitting as an inactive, dormant energy at the base of the spine. And the heart was closed, and the first 3 chakras were obviously related to the earth issues. Upper chakras, the only ones that humans could use to connect or to receive messages or intelligence or connection with the divinity. All the ancient teachings of how to achieve oneness or enlightenment was about activating the Kundalini so it can move along the spine, so you can unite or reconnect all the chakras again. The heart needs to open, and then the reason Kundalini just opens as a halo, and the enlightened beings were shown usually in the human consciousness or in the frescoes and so forth as beings with a halo or with a dot, which means that the Kundalini is risen and has pierced through the pituitary pineal glands and is now activated and unified with the higher universal intelligence. So this process, which is now happening on a planetary level, is making it extremely easy for the human beings to, via resonance, catch the same process, which means enlightenment in the 3D reality was something that was very difficult to obtain. Only few ever managed. But now the enlightenment, or the process of ascension or rising of the consciousness, is something which happens under divine grace, as a gift, as a possibility now for everybody to rise above the 3D consciousness of suffering and pain into the higher divine consciousness, which we call heaven on earth. So Mountain Meru has sent her signals throughout the months of March and April. I had my personal experience of being invited to become the High Priestess of Mountain Meru. And that was very big yes for me. So obviously many other beings have been invited and are called now, and various light workers around the planet are now being synchronized within these processes. Mountain Meru and Mountain Chomolungma, which in Tibetan means the mother of all mountains, and we know it as Mountain Everest, are sending this signal around the plane. And one very important aspect for us here in New Zealand is that the first response of the mountain activation is happening in New Zealand, because New Zealand serves as the planetary heart chakra, opening of the planetary heart chakra. And in order to rise the Kundalini, the heart must open. And the process that was happening much more intensely in the recent months is that the mountains all around New Zealand, starting with the central plateau of Mountain Ruapehu, Tongariro, Narahoi, they are opening, their Kundalini is activated and their halos are being opened. And the mountains in the vision which was given looked like it is a rose which is blossoming, like all the mountains with their halos like petals. So the configuration of like a rose, the heart opening. And the guides were explaining that this is the configuration and the frequency of Eden, of a garden. So New Zealand is becoming the frequency of garden, so the heart opens. And the other very, very important and significant aspect of that opening, which is happening around New Zealand, is the upper heart, which is opening at the area that we know as the Bombay Hills and Karaka, just south of Auckland. Just to complete the explanation about the opening or activation of the planetary Kundalini, and we'll explain a little bit more about happenings in New Zealand. As you have a look at the symbol of Karai, which was brought to our consciousness just in 2012, and that is a symbol of the reason Kundalini. You can see that the vortex of activated energy is then becoming like a 888 infinity, and brings the 0 point of consciousness at the point of a section of the 8. So if you see this symbol, this new configuration of the reason Kundalini, which is given freely now to our planet and to our human bodies to activate and have this configuration as our living God, as our living God, goddess, divine configuration. If you just visualize it in a 3D for a moment, and we go back to the planetary activation, the coil below Mountain Meru is now starting to activate as a activated vortex, and those 2 8s are opening over the poles, the north and the south magnetic pole. So on the 21st of December last year, 2015, we experienced the opening of the halo and activation of the fire ring around the planet exactly on the solstice day, which was summer solstice for us and the winter solstice for the northern hemisphere. So on that date, the Antarctica received the 24 hours daylight. So it was one point on Earth which did not experience night. There was no day and night. It was only light, 24 hours daylight, which was significant of the returning of the full consciousness on the planet. Now on the 20th of June, which is coming very soon, we are again going together. We had the big group and an amazing event on the 21st December, but now on the 20th of June, again, everybody is invited to participate into this opening. We are going to have the halo over Arctica opening, because that is the summer solstice, obviously, on the northern hemisphere. And the solstice is exactly on the 20th of June at 22:33 UGT time. No, UTC time, sorry. So this very powerful event is linked with the opening of the upper heart here in New Zealand. And this is where it is happening. If you look at the map of New Zealand, it literally like reassembles a dragon. Stewart Island would be the egg of the dragon, and then the long tail, and then the belly of the dragon under the water. And then you can see how the two wings open up towards the Taranaki and towards the Waikari Island. And if you look at the neck of the dragon, the head of the dragon, and top of the Cape Reinga, there is even three little islands called King Islands, which represent the crown of the dragon. So the middle of the North Island, where the heart of the dragon is, if you have a look, that is exactly the area of the Ruapehu, Tongariro, Mount Narahoi, and Lake Taupo. And even if you have a closer look, that was quite surprising to see, Lake Taupo looks like a heart. However, a bit higher than that, just here in the area of the Bombay Karaka, is the upper heart. Exactly as it is in the human system, the heart and the upper heart closer to the throat. That is the area in New Zealand where the halos are opening with such an amazing activity. And in the recent weeks, I've been personally called, and there have been various other light workers working with the mountains around New Zealand. We have all been assisting the process, because part of the process happens through our bodies, and at the moment it's not easy on the physical body. It's actually very, very intense, and we are all experiencing the symptomatology changes, our upper mind not being able to function in the 3D reality, but shift into the higher level of consciousness, which makes it a little bit interesting to be in the physical body at the moment. But this process is happening for everybody. So people who feel drawn to this, or who feel they are ready for the opening of the their upper heart, are most welcome to join us on the 11th and 12th of June to be working together at the Bombay Karaka levels, because the portal in that area is a bit wider, and we'll be working within the upper areas in the hills with the craters in the hills, and then the craters in the waters at the Karaka area, including the entire Manukau Harbour, which is one huge crater under the water. So the energy of the craters are quite significant energies, because they are not just normal configuration of the planet Earth created with the movements of the plane. So apart from mountains opening up, these craters are like a chalice that they represent, and they've been created through the cosmic fire, through the meteorites, or the internal fire as volcanoes. So we are working with the cosmic ones that have been created long time ago through the meteorites, bringing the energy of the seedlings and creating the craters. And they've been inactive for a millennia. Now is the time to activate these craters, and those seedling energies are now becoming interwoven within the grid of the Earth, which is now forming. And when the configuration comes into place, we are going to experience the magnificence of what the heavenly life on Earth is going to be like. So what is the meaning of the upper heart or opening? What are we going to experience with that? Firstly, the upper heart is like a ignition or igniting starter type of vibrational configuration. So like in a car, everything can be in place, but the car can't move until you turn the key and create the ignition. So in the same fashion, the upper heart opening here in New Zealand is doing the igniting of the heart energy and the activation of the Kundalini throughout the planetary plane. And it also activates our upper hearts, which are doing the same thing for us. So rising of the Kundalini starts with the upper heart activation. Secondly, the active upper heart means that it changes the direction of the divine feminine energy on this planet from suppressed into expressed. So from dormant into vibrantly opened and awakened. So if you want to experience that change or that difference and that new configuration and being flooded by these energies, we are all open for these experiences, and much divine celestial help is coming for all of us, and we are called to work in the groups, to work together, to bring all this into being by our intent, by our participation, by our passion for what is happening on our planet and in our lives. And thirdly, I'll just mention these three. They're absolutely more than long celestial scientific story to be told about upper heart activation and Kundalini rising. But I'll just mention the third aspect of what is happening when the upper heart rises. It is also igniting our authentic self. So it is like a code which activates the authenticity of beingness within everyone. And that has been repressed or behind the veil configuration for a number of lifetimes and for a long millennia on the earth plane. So it will be truly wonderful to step into our authentic power. So this entire process which we are stepping into within this month of June with the activation at the Bombay Karaka portal and completion around on the 20th around that solstice crowning or the solstice opening of the upper hyla of the planet. It actually started on the 21st December last year. And then I just want to mention a few of the interesting aspects of development throughout these recent months, because in the month of January, it arrived in the consciousness that now the planet is being plunged into the very powerful SS wave, SS standing for a solar sonar wave. And for the first time, our planet experienced unified vibration of the light and sound. So it's a different wave than what we experienced or knew before. And very soon after that arrived in the consciousness, and we all as a light worker started working with that, it was confirmed by the modern science that, that the confirmation came around 8th of February, that the phenomena that scientists were observing for some time of two black holes spiraling around each other, they created some kind of a new configuration that became stable configuration, and they blended together. And then that amount of energy that was emitted from this event was measured by the scientists to be 50 times stronger than the rest of the energy in the universe combined that we know or can measure. And this wave hitting the earth was measured with very specific instruments made of super polished quartz. And in two separate laboratories was shown that it literally lifted the vibration of these crystals tremendously. So you can only imagine what happens not only to the quartz crystal, but to every atom, molecule, electromagnetic circuit or field on Earth plane. We are all being like whooshed by this powerful SS wave. To be able to make most of these extreme powerful energies, There is a level of modulation that needs to happen, and our Arcturian brothers and amazing celestial beings that are working with us are rendering their help. Recently there were activation by the guides from Cassiopeia, the guides from Eta Carinam, who are the masters of the fire, and they started giving us full-on templates about learn how to burn with these intense fire energies. The guides from Epsilon Eridani and higher amazing levels of beings, including the 888 angels, which are the aspects of the angels that recently opened up and started working with the humans. Because all of these new waves of the scientific help from the higher science and the higher intelligence was only available to the humans now, because they say they teach curriculum of the university, and if the humans were only like a 3-year-old, we could not be taught on that level. And now, because we are rising our frequency, we can. By the somewhere mid of month of August and September, it is expected to have 21% of the human population being activated and resonating with the amazing ascension energies. So from this happening in February, then we had throughout the month of March very powerful configuration on the 8th of March with the energy of the new moon. It was a solar eclipse, and then on the 24th, which is also 8 plus 8 plus 8, was the full moon and the energy of the lunar eclipse. So these two literally ignited again the further modulation and the further utilization of this extremely powerful raw energy. Those black holes and that ignition of this like a black light is something that is the Quan field, the field of the primary mother, primary creator energy, the field of black light, like a womb, like a 0 point, which creates everything, and everything returns to that field. So Mother Quan enters our realm, our consciousness with a big bang, with an intensity that we've never ever experienced on this earth before. Throughout months of April, the very powerful full moon in April the 22nd, which was significant with the opening of the Vesak ceremonies, the Buddha's birthday, and Passover, and it was also the day of Mother Earth. So all this significance piling up together is just amazing to see and feel the synchronicities. And around that time, when the Kundalini at Maru started moving, there were 40 earthquakes around the globe. Month of May, with the activating now of the firing further, it was 40 eruptions of volcanoes around the plane. So all this is still happening regarding quite mildly, without major human suffering, and yet it is a huge shift. American scientists have also published some information that it is now visible, noticeable, that around Earth there is a field or some kind of configuration that they can't explain scientifically, which is something new, which wasn't there before. So it looks like modern science is also catching up with the higher celestial science into understanding the processes of the huge change our beautiful planet is going through, and including the human race. And the light workers around the planet are busy around the clock. So understanding that it is up to us to turn up, to come together, to bring the energies of our personal selves within our group selves, and to start enjoying our wider communities of the celestial spiritual families, and then fully understanding that humanity is one big huge family. We are progressing with these energies. Again, open invitation to anyone who wants to join us on the 11th and 12th of June, and on the 20th of June, just in the evening, for a celebration and the further configurations. Everyone welcome. All these energies, as they happen in New Zealand, as they are received, are going to be made available to the wider communities and obviously through everybody around the world. So stay tuned and let's be prepared, be ready for what's coming next. In July there is the helical rising of the Sirius. In August, Lion Gate 888 bring the further acceleration, further intensity. So it's amazing, magical time on Earth. Let us all collectively enjoy and surrender to the divine energies. Karaira, Karai Rama.